We live in an era where all the information of the world is literally in our pockets. You can Google anything, anytime. Yet many of us feel lost, confused, and even empty. Why is that? Because information is not knowledge and knowledge is not wisdom. As Swami Vivekananda once said, all the knowledge that the world has ever received comes from the mind. The infinite library of the universe is in our own mind. But today, we are flooded with enormous information every day, and too much of anything is bad for us. What is even more concerning is the fact that how to differentiate information from knowledge and knowledge from wisdom. I am Mohit, your MK, and I have been a writer and an aspiring author for 10 years now. I am a seeker and a student of Indian philosophy. And knowledge is among the main branches of study in philosophy called epistemology, which means theory of knowledge. So let's get started. Modern science gifted us the periodic table, 118 elements beautifully arranged in this single table. Generations of scientists dedicated their lives to classify the building blocks of nature. But the more we studied, the more exceptions appeared. Transition elements, inner transition elements, anomalies that don't fit the trend. And what do? We label them as exceptions. But can nature have exceptions? Or is it our lack of understanding? And if we struggle to fully explain the matter of a single planet, how can we expect to unravel the mystery of the entire cosmos? Even thousands of years ago, humans explained creation through 5 simple elements: earth, water, fire, air, and ether. Everyone from philosophers to healers to spiritual leaders accepted them because they could be directly experienced. You can touch the soil, feel the warmth of fire, drink water, breathe air, and sense space. Additionally, in the Bhagavad Gita, Shri Krishna speaks of 3 more elements of material creation, that are Man, Buddhi, and Ahankar, closely translated to mind, intellect, and ego. Now, because we can't touch or see these, modern rationalists dismiss them as the forces of creation. But the same rationalists happily accept things like dark matter, neutrinos, or the God particles, which not only can't be touched but haven't even been directly observed. Isn't it absurd? Maybe the truth is this: our senses are too limited to define reality. After all, even Kant has said that the true nature of things in themselves cannot be known and there are limits to our knowledge. And certain aspects of reality remain fundamentally unknowable to us. Think about it. Our eyes see only a tiny range of light, 0.4 to 0.7 micrometers. Bees can see ultraviolet light, snakes can sense infrared. On the other hand, our ears can hear only 20 to 20,000 hertz, but a dog hears twice that range. So tell me, if we only experience such a small slice of existence, can we really say this is all that exists, or is that arrogance dressed up as knowledge? This is why philosophy always warned us to not confuse perception with truth. So then what is knowledge? Philosophers define it as a true justified belief. Knowledge is not just belief, it needs justification. It's not just facts, it needs meaning. Indian epistemology went even further, creating entire systems called praman, meaning different ways of knowing. Perception, inference, analogy, testimony, postulation, each has its strengths and its flaws. But together, they created a science of knowledge itself. And this is why Indian civilization could preserve wisdom for thousands of years, despite invasions and destruction. Because knowledge was not just stored in books, it was transmitted orally, experimentally, and philosophically. It lived in its people. But here comes the key question: can knowledge be manipulated? History says yes. And if it can be manipulated, can it be the final truth? Let's have a look at our history. Why did the invaders burn Nalanda? Why did the British distort Indian texts? Why did conquerors everywhere try to destroy libraries and rewrite narratives? Because knowledge is power, and restricting knowledge means you can easily control people. And today, nothing has changed much. Knowledge still gets filtered by governments, by corporations, or by algorithms. What you read, what you learn, what you believe is often a product of someone else's design. This shows us something important. Material knowledge changes. It evolves, it gets manipulated, it adapts to societies, cultures, and power struggles. So, if knowledge can change, can it ever be the truth, or is it only a tool? Let's pause for a moment and ask, how did humans rise above all other species? It wasn't strength because a lion is stronger. It wasn't speed because a cheetah is faster. It was our intelligence and language. Take a deer for example. When a predator comes, the mother deer signals her fawn. If the fawn survives, it learns, but it cannot pass that knowledge forward except through instincts or DNA, and that takes generations. Humans, on the other hand, invented language, the language of information. We could share stories, lessons, warnings, and discoveries. An old man could tell children about hunting mammoths, and they would carry that knowledge without facing the danger themselves. As Professor Harari said in Sapiens, the most unique feature of human language is the ability to transmit information about things that do not exist. And after that invention, we were no longer limited by biology. And this is why knowledge became so sacred. It became the backbone of civilizations, religions, and sciences. It empowered us, it liberated us, and also sometimes it enslaved us. But let's get real. Most of the knowledge we accumulate is about the material world. How to farm, how to build, how to code, how to launch rockets. And of course it is useful, but at the same time constantly changing. Yesterday's truths are today's half-truths. So here's the turning point. That which changes cannot be the ultimate truth. Material knowledge is valuable, but it is not final. The real unchanging truth is what had been called Atmagyan, or the knowledge of the self. Socrates said, true knowledge exists in knowing that you know nothing. While the Gita says, when one sees the self as separate from body, mind and ego, true knowledge dawns. This is the knowledge that is not about the physical. It is about being or the abstract. So what is true knowledge? It's not stored in books or databases. It's not about atoms or galaxies. It's the realization that you are not just a body, not just a mind, and not just a bundle of desires. True knowledge is when joy and sorrow no longer control you, when success and failure lose their grip, when the mind, whose nature is to wander, finally becomes still. This is what traditions call moksha, nirvana, liberation or awakening. And they are not places, they are the states of consciousness. And here's the irony. While we chase information on our smartphones, this true knowledge can't be Googled. It can only be lived, felt and realized. So ask yourself, are you a collector of information or a seeker of truth? Because information makes you smart, but true knowledge makes you free. And in the end, perhaps the most important knowledge is this. You are more than you think you are. And I want you to keep that in mind. Because when we start to think that we are more than we think of ourselves, it is then only we can seek this true knowledge. I will leave you with this thought for now. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Like, share or subscribe as you see fit. I will see you in the next video with another topic to spark your curiosity. Till then, take care, be happy and remember Krishnam Sada Sahayate.